it's going to make a commitment throwing the football. There ain't no doubt you better be good at running screens. Then for us, what you're going to see is draws aren't really draws. They look like draws, and the defense, the radio, and the TV guys go, boy, they run the draws with it. To us, our best draw was not a draw play at all. It was a lead that looked like a draw when you're in the shotgun. And we might have passed set a defensive end to make it look like a draw. But in all honesty, as far as teaching it, we can teach it the same exact way as if we were running the center. We were in an offset eye, and we were running the lead. What made any difference? Blocking scheme stayed the same. Okay? Not any difference at all. I'll go over several of the variations of things in the screen game of what we did and how we did it. We were probably best known, Coach was probably best known, he's at Valdosta State and at Iowa Wesleyan, for probably being the best screen coach that there was. The amazing thing is that we didn't run screens to running backs. I always wanted to. Matter of fact, last spring, we had a great spring where I got him to put in an old double screen that I ran in high school, with both backs being in the screens, a slow screen, you know, set back, wait, drop, let the D-line come, move back, throw the screen to either side of the back. We ran it all spring, man, it was wonderful. And then we threw it out in the summer. I ain't figured that out yet, but anyway, another story. But what we did with our screens was that we threw wide receiver screens, and if we threw running back screens, we threw them as if they were wide receivers, either by putting them in motion, lining them up outside, or this last year, we had quick running back screens out of the backfield, in which we changed just a couple of little nuances that made a really big difference in giving us something different that we could use, something that would make an adjustment. Here are some of the things that I think are important if you're going to be a good screen coach. Number one, is that you got to force the defense to line up right. If you're going to coach football and you're going to allow yourself to set two receivers out in space, and them to put one defender on those two receivers and leave the other 10 guys in the box, and that's not your kid's fault that you can't move the ball. That's your fault. Because if the defense lines up wrong and you don't have a way to force them to line up right, then they can line up the whole game and outnumber you in the box. Our whole entire concept in running screens was that we were going to force you on every single snap to line up correctly. If we had three receivers lined up out wide, and you chose to line up one guy on one of them, we were going to take the snap and we're going to throw the ball to one of them. We didn't care if it was 1/4 and 1/4 of an inch. We didn't care if we were on the 1-inch line coming out. We didn't care if we were on the 1-inch line going in. If you ain't going to line up right, we're going to take the ball, we're going to give it to somebody, and we're going to make you line up right, because you know what happens to defensive coaches? Is that head coach over on the sideline looking, and he sees you stand up, throw a screen out there, and he's got one guy covering the rib. And that head coach, he'll let it happen once, okay? He might even let it happen twice. But then when the fans figure it out, they start yelling down there, especially in high school when they're sitting, you know, right there on your ass. They're all yelling down there, and they're going, you going to cover them or what? Next thing you know, they're going to take 2 guys or 3 guys and put them out there, and now you can go back and run what you want to run anyway. But until you do that, guess what? They ain't got to line up right. They don't have to do it. And you can't get mad at your kids because they can't block an extra player. You know, when you start drawing that stuff up, you got that pencil, there's that one guy, and you're going, damn, we blocked everybody, and we got a yard. I mean, now you got a great back, you know, you got the back, and he's got the one guy, and he makes him this, and we all look smart, and we move on. But if you don't, you better make them line up. So that's the number one thing with screens. Force the defense to line up right, and then you've got to trust the quarterback to make the right decision and never get on him if he's wrong. Here's the deal. We had 2 words that we could use. One that started with an R, and it meant that we're going to throw a quick screen to the right, one that started with an L, it meant we were going to throw a quick screen to the left. So we could come up and go, Randy, Randy, Randy. The whole offensive line knew we were throwing a quick screen to the right. They didn't care who was getting the ball. They knew that the quick screen was to the right, and they knew that the uncovered guys were fixing to pull out there. Big fat guys were now going to run downfield. The picture in the paper as they ran downfield, and probably whip. Some little guys were going to run out what. The whole deal is that it didn't matter if they hit them or not. The deal was that little guys saw big guys running downfield. When little guys saw big guys running downfield, if nothing else, they tended to change their path as they were moving towards the guy to tackle. The other great thing was for us is that the way we practiced this, 2 days a week, we committed to having screen period. That's when our offensive linemen conditioned. They didn't know they were conditioning, but that's when they were conditioning. We didn't run them after practice. You heard me last night. We don't run sprints. The reason we don't run sprints is because we score every time. In practice, if you get tackled or knocked down, and you ain't scored, you get up and you go score a touchdown. You run this offense and you throw the ball every snap. Receivers are running hundreds of sprints all day long. Why demoralize them in practice and go, now we're doing conditioning. Line up on the line and let's run sprints. Well, the O-line doesn't get to do that. The O-line on our offense does this all day long. Okay? And in a game, that's what they do. But we get them conditioned by running screen period, make them run down the field, have these big stand-up dummies standing there, and then they run and they throw big long balls like body blocks, get tired, run back to the field, and we make our starters do it over and over and over again. They don't know it's conditioning, but it is. So if you trust your quarterback and you spend 10 minutes a week, that's all you do, guys, you'll make yourself commit to a 10-minute period once a week. If you want to get really good at it, do it twice a week. But if all you can do is commit to once a week, have a lot of fun, force people to line up right. Give the ball, put the faith in your quarterback's hands. You trust him. If you put twins out to the left, and they put one defender out there, that you're going to let him run off line of scrimmage, you go, Larry, Larry, Larry. And snap, throw the ball, go block one guy, let the other guy run, you may score a touchdown, look real smart. Quarterback, here's the other good thing. You look down to number 3. You're helping your quarterback. When I was a high school coach, first years that I coached, I had a great mentor, a guy named Billy Mitchell. Billy was a good mentor because he taught me a whole lot about football. It didn't have to do with X's and O's. He taught me a lot of that too. He also taught me stuff that had nothing to do with it. What he said was that early in a ball game, he said you want your quarterback to be confident. Give him something that he can complete early in the game. I always started games off, first 10, 15 plays, with having 2 or 3 quick screens where he can take the snap, throw the ball right down the line of scrimmage, get a completion. The guy might break it, get 50 yards, and in his mind, all quarterbacks are the same. They're all thinking, 1 out of 1, 50 yards, the stats, the newspaper right now. You know, nobody gives a shit that you only threw it 3 yards down the field. That's the great thing. Those are the stats. So you're helping your quarterback's confidence. All of a sudden, he's walking in at halftime. If you're a good quick screen guy, you've thrown 10 passes, 7 of them were quick screens. He completed those 7, didn't throw any of them more than 10 yards sideways either way. He's 7 out of 10 for 112 yards. He's walking off the field at half and he hears the stats. Quarterback Baker, 7 out of 10, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's just, hip out, he's feeling pretty good. But what you've done is you've created confidence. You guys know, been coaching football, if that quarterback ain't confident, he probably ain't going to win. Okay? You better be awful good on defense if that quarterback's not confident. Okay? The best quarterback, I was telling a couple guys a while ago, high school, I coached some really good quarterbacks. Several of them got scholarship. One of them was a great player. The others were pretty decent players. The best quarterback I ever coached was 5'11", 118 pounds his senior year in high school. Okay? He could bench press somewhere in the area of 100 to 115 pounds. We never knew because we were afraid he would get killed if we put the bar and let him have it by himself. He can only throw the ball 35 yards. Which was perfect. One thing he could do is he could throw these little screens when somebody was uncovered. He could throw the fade better than anybody I've ever seen. It's like, I can't throw the fade, you can only throw 35 yards. You ever studied that? best fade routes, most highly successful fade routes are caught between 18 to 25 yards deep. When you get more than 25 yards, your percentage drops about 30 points. Well, he was perfect. You know, one hash, he take a snap, he can throw it as far as he can throw it, which meant that from this hash all the way out to the other part of the field, it was going to land about 25 yards. We had a big guy that would run down there about as soon as he got there, the ball landed, he kicks the ball. The guy was a good quarterback. We helped him out. Another thing that's very important about screen, you go down and you play Florida, it's fun. Or for you guys, you're playing LaSalle, or whoever it is in your district that you're going, there ain't no way. There ain't no way at all. These guys are going to beat us 1,000 points. They're going to kill our quarterback. We ain't going to survive. Why did we put this offense in? There ain't no way that Johnny can block this guy. Trust me, we went down to Florida in 98. They had 7 players off the defense drafted in the first 2 rounds. They got Sharon Lewis out here. We got a tackle out here that we're going to, you know, guys, this is that World Couch, you know, he's going to cost us $1 million right now, insurance money and stuff. He's going to be in the hospital. There's no way we're going to do it. I learned a whole lot going into that game from our head coach. Because what we did early in the game was he said, look guys, we may not gain very many yards early in this ball game, but what we're going to do is we're going to take these suckers that are on that D-line and we're going to make them do this. Here's what they're going to do the first quarter. They're going to come up the field 2 steps hard and all of a sudden the ball's going to be gone. They're going to take off, they're going to run down the sideline about 20 yards and they're going to catch our guys for a 1-yard gain. Because they're D-ends, that's what they did. They go, huh! Take off and run. I'm thinking, you know, well, why are we doing this? You know, I want to beat Florida. Well, he was a lot smarter than me because he knew the only chance we had was to make those guys get tired. That's what we did. We took the ball, we threw quick screens, we went back to our 90 package to throw mesh, Y cross, all that other stuff, and guess what we did? We hit the last step, we threw the ball back on the swing. And guess what their D-line did? By the 3rd quarter, they weren't near as frisky. So when you do this, you also help your offensive lineman out. If you're going to throw the ball a bunch, you got to help your O-line. Guys, y'all know, as well as I do, you coach football in high school for 20 years, you may get lucky to have 3 or 4 really good O-linemen that are great football players that can play at the next level because you're just in a program that's, you know, phenomenal or something. A lot of your O-linemen shouldn't be playing football, guys. A lot of them shouldn't be doing anything, but you thank God that they're out there. These are guys that, you know, they're claiming the thing in life one day is going to be to eat more chicken wings than anybody in the history of mankind has seen part of. Those are the guys that you're counting on. If you don't help them with scheme, you're doing them a disservice if you're going to get your quarterback killed in this offense. That's another reason you throw screens and you throw a lot of them and you don't care if you get yards. No, that don't sound right, but you don't care because there's a purpose in it. The purpose in it is help the offensive lineman as the game is going by to where that guy's running. I saw a high school game this year, defensive lineman, highly recruited, playing against my buddy down in Alabama that I've talked about a couple of times. He sent me film on the other week and asked me to watch it. I watched it and I told him, I said, I'll tell you what you better do the first quarter, bro. I said, number 1, the quick game stuff that you all just saw, short set, cut it. Take a step back, get him right in the balls, right in the knees and cut it. Do that early in the game. It'll frustrate him. Second thing is, first quarter, throw at least 5 to 10 strings the first quarter. Guess what? The second quarter, he was a no-free back. He was wore out, he was tired. They threw the 90s the rest of the game, 5-step, 7-step drop. The guy was never back because they wore him down. That's what this stuff does. Commit 10 minutes weekly, and here's the best way to do that. great drawing. It doesn't matter if you've got trash cans. It doesn't matter if you've got dummies. It doesn't matter if you've got girl mannequins. It doesn't matter what you have. As long as you line up 11 bodies somewhere over here, 11 trash cans, 11 dummies, something that you put over there. Do this on about 15, 20-yard line, going in. That way you can keep your principle of scoring on every play. I've drawn up a generic formation here. There's a trips to the right, back to the right, wide receiver to the left. Numbers. They got two guys out here trying to cover 3 possible receivers in this area. All right, we may do this as a scripted play, or we might do a check formation. We're going to do, say in this deal here, we're going to go early right check. Okay? We're going to come up line of scrimmage, we're in screen period. We're going early right check. That's the formation call right now. We're now going to give them some look where he has to check the best screen. He's now going to come up the line of scrimmage. He's going to look and he's going to go, Randy, Randy, Randy. He signals him out there. All he's done is told the receivers who's getting the ball. He signaled H. The offensive line didn't care. They just heard Randy. Okay? Randy, Randy, Randy. He just signaled Z. Okay? Or he might actually do this, which we did later. We had another little deal, which I'll show you in a little bit. We may throw it to Y. We may come up and go Rose, Rose. And give him this signal. Now we're going to throw another type string. We're going to throw it to the Y. What you've done with your quarterback is that you're training him for the week. What are my base formations I'm going to use this week? What are some formations that might get them? I've done my scouting report. I've got the formations. I know that when people line up in trips to the short side of the field, they tend to defend the field. Great. They're going to defend the field. We're going to line up trips to the right. I'm going to have my quarterback every time we walk out. This guy's got 8 yards of cushion. Who's my best one? Is it H or Z? That's who I want to throw it to. We're going to come up. Anytime they line up like that, don't care what the down distance is. Don't care. We're going to check to it. We're going to make the quarterback responsible to check it. Okay? So now during this period, we're going to have check with me formations. You're going to walk up. You're going to huddle up. You're going to go, early right check. Check the best screen. So he's going to come up. He's going to check to it. Now we're going to run, for example, let's say we're going to run Z Randy. All Z's going to do is set and reset his feet. Now all we're going to do is count. If they can count, they can do this. He's going to come and block 1. Who is 1? 1 is the most dangerous person who could be the widest guy counting outside in. Or on the way to block 1, he may replace him and become 1. He might come down and not going to block 1 and become the most dangerous defender. I now change and I block him and make him number 1. I'm now going to block 2, second receiver. I'm going to block 2. So what happens is that as I go and I'm counting from outside in, 1, 2. As I go to block 2, H replace me and block 2. I now adjust and I come and block 1. I'm going to give them both those looks during practice that day. I might do it as the coach. I may walk over and be the defender where they have to make the decision. Okay? And all we're going to do on the block is we're going to do 2 kinds of blocks. We're going to throw and roll. I know in high school, are y'all in federation rules? Are y'all high school federation where you can't block below the waist? Okay. Doesn't matter. Can't block below the waist. Here's what I like to do is run, and this is a great drill, is throw with their neck. The old crossbody block, y'all remember those back in the old days? If you've got those stand-up dummies that you can hold up, is run and throw with their neck. Okay? If you throw with their neck, you're going to hit them in the waist, and it's a legal block. Okay? I know you probably don't think so, but it is. The official may call it. You may have to go out there and coach him for a little bit. It'll be fun anyway. Okay? If you don't do that, then you're going to do the slow stalk block, which in our training, what I do when I coach receivers is 1 to 2 minutes in pre-practice every day. So we practice from 5 yards apart. Slow stalk blocks, and all it is common sense, leverage, wide body, wide base, take him where he wants to go. Okay, we did not try to make a decision on where we were going to block him except with another type of screen. So we're going to go 1, 2. Now you can do it a couple of ways. If you can use the back, if the back is a good blocker, the tackle is fairly athletic. Depends on how you do it. Let's say in this scenario right now that your tackle's like our tackle this year. He couldn't block anybody in space. So we were going to pass set him and then cut him, okay, which again, in y'all in Federation, I forgot, can you cut the D lineman against the edge D lineman? Okay, so you can take him and cut him on the pass rush right here as he comes up the field, and you can now take him and arc him and block 3, okay, like that. Or change up deal, and you'll see this here in a minute. You might want to have a play action deal in the deal. If you have a play action, you can hold the linebacker a little bit longer so they don't take off. And now we call 35 H Randy, 35 Z Randy. All we've said is we want to fake 35 now. Take the snap, make a quick fake. All the quarterback does, take the snap, flash the ball, turn and throw it. When you watch these cut-ups in a minute, what you're going to see the quarterback do is that we don't even try to get his hands on the seams. Take the snap, boom, throw the ball. Take the snap, boom, throw the ball. Take the snap, throw the ball. We don't care what it looks like. We don't care if it wobbles. The whole key is get the ball out to the guy as fast as you possibly can. Okay, get rid of the football as fast as possible when we're trying to do this. All right, now, uncovered linemen. If we're going to send one, flash your hands. When you'll see this, we always tell them flash hands, fouls and 1 to go, which means they're going to flash their hands, ain't going to touch nobody, get out of the way. Again, that's why the shotgun is great, because it's forgiving. You can do that if they're in the gun. If they're under the center, one of the last high schools I coached at, we threw a lot of quick screens underneath the center. If you do that, you've got to change your blocking scheme a little bit. You've got to be a little bit more firm, and then you may not even send any linemen. It's up, you don't have to send linemen when you do this. But let's say that in this scenario, we're going to send him flat, and then he's going to turn up and block 4 or the safety in that scenario there. Okay? We now, with the center, again, if we've got a guy that we feel like we want to block, we may do that, or we may send him up on the mic. These 2 guys are firm and block. Or you're going to see in some of this film that you watch, the first 2 years that we were at Kentucky, we had athletic center, we had a mean center, we had a center that when he went to block, it wasn't a player to block, he blocked the coach or a manager on the other sideline. He would hit anything that moved. He loved it. He loved the center. We had a guard that was just as mean as him. We had other guys that ran halfway decent, and we a lot of times would send all 5 lines. It's fun to watch some of these tapes and watch them run. But they distort the pathway of those guys, and sometimes they do get some pretty good shots. So we're talking about practicing this. We're talking about having a formation that's a check with me formation. Put the game in the quarterback's hands. Let them come up. They don't line up right. Give him the freedom to check to it. Make him do it in practice. Make him do it in 3rd and 1. You'll see some of the situations that we get it in. Guys, it's something that any quarterback can do no matter how untalented they are, as long as they can get rid of the ball fairly quickly. Okay? That's one way to do it, is with a check with me formation. The other way is that every week, that you go out and play, you should have at least 5 to 10 scripted screens on a screen script. I don't know how you do your play sheets, but I'm going to talk about that. I think the last session that we do is game planning and all that stuff. But in screens, you should script a screen script that every week that you get 5 to 10. They don't have to be different, but they need to look different. They need to, for example, like the formation I just showed you. Let's say that we're going to do it the next week. We want to throw the same exact screen. But now we're going to line up like this. Okay? We don't want anything to change because we like it, because H is a good blocker for us. But we want to change the look, we want to change the motion, we want to change something about it. We can get to the same thing by scripting it now. We go blue right, H move, Z Randy. Okay? Now we end up in the same exact formation that we had the week before. Okay? Or we could line up like this, and we could go early right flip. Again, I'm just saying formations that for us, we go early right flip, Z move. Now bring Z in motion. Z Randy. Okay? Same exact play. The only thing that changed is how we got into the play, how we moved ourselves into the play. If you do that every week, run the same play, a different formation, a different motion, the defensive coaches are drawing up something new and something different. And they can never get attendance. And you've got something that you have tremendous advantage because what have you done? You've practiced it the same exact way. Nothing changes for you, but it changes for the defense. So every week that you go in, you should script somewhere between 5 to 10 new type screens that you can put in, okay? And you can do it according to what they do. You're going to see a screen here in a minute. People play man press on you, right? You got the same exact thing coming the next week. You want to do it again. You got a team that's going to play man. So now you can have some fun. Now you got man, say you got man free across the field. So you got man defender here, playing inside leverage, man defender here, man defender, free safety here, a backer man on him. All right, now, going into this week of practice, we want to keep everything fairly simple, but we know we got a man team, so we got to change a little bit. So what we're going to do, snap the ball, we're going to fake 35. Okay? We're going to have this guy in pre-snap motion. Now we're going to run 35, H, Randy, swing, crack. Okay? Nothing changes. Come up off the deal. Here he comes in motion. Here comes his guy jumping over the top. We're going to crack his man now, snap the ball right here, arc him, bring him around to number 2. Again, same play, nothing changes except the blocking scheme. A little bit of the terminology changes. Okay? All right? You may want to do something. Again, you see some of these on tape here in just a second. You commit to running the mesh.
Can you raise that up? Your shadows block.
Commit to running the mesh. You're going to run the mesh route that we talked about back in the last period. Okay? The one thing that happens when you run the mesh is you tend to tighten your splits down. Okay? Z's got to tighten himself down. X has got to tighten himself down. If you're not careful, what happens to you is everybody, every time you line up with tight splits, you don't have something else. You're going to start doing this. You're going to start signaling that you're going to run mesh. We had a good little comeback on that this year. As we changed the blocking scheme, we go Z fly. We call F rows, which meant rows and range changed only one thing, is how did we make the blocks? Now instead of stalk blocking, we attack the outside hip area of the defender that we were blocking because we tightened the formation down. We brought everybody down inside within 4 to 6 yards of formation, and what we wanted to do was take a back who had good speed, free release swing him as fast as possible, and now with the defender, when I'm going to block number 1, instead of going to stalk block number 1, I sprint to his outside shoulder pad and either threw on his outside hip or I attacked his outside pad and turned my butt to the sideline. I've got the same exact concept in play with the old linemen. Nothing's changed for them. But by changing the word Randy to Rose, what I've told the outside blockers is that I want you to now attack the outside shoulder pad, try to get the butt to the sideline if possible, and let us sprint the back to the sideline. Okay? We added that this year, so we had a kid come in, a true freshman, who was a great open space fast guy. By putting that concept and that play in, We gave ourselves a whole new identity when we lined up in tight formation. Great way to start a ball game out. Quarterback took the snap, threw the ball left-handed out there real quick to this guy, full swing. 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 yards. Okay? Another new way of starting off the same thing, same place. Here's the whole concept, guys. I'm going to show you a lot of cut-ups on screens. The main thing is, you be as creative as you possibly can running a screen. Don't make it complicated for your offensive linemen. Don't make it complicated for receivers running back. But change motion and change formation every week and commit to throwing 5 to 10 of them, and don't get mad when they don't gain yards. Remember, there's a reason behind it. Yeah, hell, it's great if you got a great screen runner. You're going to see some of these deals that we got. You're going to see guys that we don't block a soul when we score a touchdown because the guy makes a play. Okay? But that's great. But some of the best screen runners that you have are slow guys, because here's what you teach slow guys to do. Catch the ball and go straight up the field. People play soft zone, slow guy catches the ball, gets 6 yards. Fast guy catches the ball and starts dancing in place. Everybody comes and catches it. Slow guys tend to do what they're told to do, and coach puts it better sometimes than fast guys. There's one other type of screen deal here I want you to look at before we go to the film. If you ever saw the University of Montana play back in their glory days, like this year, I guess they're runner-up again, we got this from them. We call it Grizz, it's named after the Montana Grizzlies. But I got it on here as quick screen with press variation. Throw quick screens against pure press man. Yes. You can throw the quick screens that I just talked about where we go in motion and we crack. Okay, we take pure press man, send the guy in motion, snap the ball when he's at the guard or tackle, arc him, crack, hit him on the arc. Great way to do it. If you don't want to do that, this is a great way to do it. This has been a very successful play in the state of Kentucky because in 97 and 98, we ran this play to perfection. And every high school in the state came and wanted to copy it. And they went out and did a great job running it, actually probably better than what we did. Here's the deal. Whoever is the screen runner is now going to press man coverage. What he's going to have to do is drive the press man up the field 3 steps and then retrace his steps. He's coming up 1, 2, 3 steps, and now he's retracing his steps. The defender who is making, the receiver who's making the kick-out block, he now is going to drive up half the distance of the defender who is covering the outside receiver. So if the defender who is covering the outside receiver is in pure man press, that means that we're going to drive him up at least 2 steps now. Okay? Here's why. If on the snap, all I do is go directly to him, what does my man read that's on me? He reads screen, he comes downhill and comes and makes the play. What does he read if I do this? Boom. He reads out cut, doesn't he? He reads me running an out cut. He reads the little H and Y out that we showed a while ago. Okay, our little quick game pass through. So now, if he's in pure press man, I'm 2 steps. Boom, stick, I'm coming out, and now I'm a pulling guard. Outside receiver has gone up 3 hard steps, retracing his steps. Here comes his man now on his hip. Here he comes back trailing me. All of a sudden, here comes the trap block. Trap block takes him. I arc back, coming back inside. Catch the ball, coming back flat down the line of scrimmage. When I catch the ball now, guard to the play side is coming to kick out number 2. Okay? All he's done is flash his hands, try to stop the charge, 1001. Coming flat for a trap block to kick out number 2. That's another reason why the inside guy has got to go a couple of steps up the field, and that is to help the guard on his ankle. The guard is now running a pure trap block, coming on a kick out. The tackle is locked on, the defensive end. The back is going to make a fake. We changed this because it worked so good for 2 years, we decided that we better change it. So we changed it just good enough that it didn't work as good anymore. What we did in the beginning was that we slid, made a break fake right here, and then we came and we blocked the outside kneecap of the 2 or 3 technique here. The reason we did it was we had Couch. We didn't want him to get hurt. We didn't want to run his $1 million contract. Once Couch was gone, we didn't hear about those. We said, hell, if he gets hurt, whatever. Really good for him. Okay? The center is going to always try to go and block Mike back. Check. Come up the field and block Mike or number 3. Sometimes number 3 would be Sam. Okay? Counting from outside in 1, 2, 3. We've changed that a couple of times too, different times. Backside guard, we tried to stop penetration, release up the field to number 4 or to the safety, whichever 1-4 was, either Mike or the safety. On the backside, we've done a couple of things there at different times. We fake the screen to the backside, we run them off to the backside, we run out routes to the backside. Doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. Okay? Quarterback, all he was doing, taking the snap, flashing the ball, backpedaling, looking at his eyes away, and throwing the ball here. So fake, backpedal, eyes, throw the ball, back to the play side. Most of the time that you're going to see this on film, it was actually to the left rather than to the right because we had Craig Yeast that we did it to. If somebody plays pure press man coverage on you, again, this is a great way to get them out of press. You don't want that. If you hit the seam right, it's a score. The guy that comes back has got to trust the guard. It's one of the hardest things to do. Comes back, catches the ball, here comes the guard, here comes the defender. He's got to trust the guard and try to get his body back up the field, straight up the field. Okay? Again, good little screen package versus pure hand press. Okay, let's look at some of these on tape. Quick screen runner is not that important. They tend to make everybody look just a little bit better. Again, all the quarterback did on this was take the snap, release the ball as fast as possible. He got fairly soft coverage, not tremendously soft. This was one, I think it was early in the ball game. So he's going to block 1. He's coming to block most dangerous right here. 1. He tries to get to 2 and doesn't. Ends up blocking 3 because he got there first. That last block, remember the guy that liked to hit guys on the sideline? Watch the center on this. Right here, he's saying, hell, I can't get him. I can't get him. I might get him, but there's somebody over here on the sideline. He got him a couple there. Again, you know, the great thing is, guys, is that no fake on this. We called what we used to call this what we call toe. Toe meant tackle on end. Okay? Tackle, you stay on the end. We're changing the block. We're letting the F go block your guy. Most of the time when we had a toe call, we'd have a fake. But on this one, we didn't have a fake on this. It just depends on the formation. Sometimes we would, sometimes we wouldn't.
This particular play though looks narrow. It looks narrow.
Honestly, I don't know. Okay, up at the top of the screen is one of the variation screens that I just drew you. If you watch on this one, what's going to happen is that X is going to drive up the field 3 hard steps and then come back, even though it's not pressed. He's now going to drive up the field half the distance of his defender, which puts him at about 3 to 4 yards. Then he'll break it out for the trap block. Now here he comes. Here comes the guard on the trap block on number 2. You can see by going up the field first, he sets up the guard. Here comes the guard now flat, takes the upfield shoulder. Good coaching point here. If he takes the upfield shoulder, he makes the defender go behind him, which puts him in great position. Actually, if he turned straight up the field, it'd been a lot better play. Again, quarterback, not much of a fake. Doesn't have to be much of a fake. Just enough to hold him so that the center can get out on number 3. Halfway fake, now come and act like he's blocking him. Again, on this, if the receiver would take the ball straight up the field, he'd have a lot better shot. Okay, one of the deals I just showed you a while ago. You're getting a trips right, you got soft coverage against the slow guy. Slow guy. Hits the ball, goes straight up the field, slow guy. Go block number one. If he becomes and appears as number one, change the blocks. You now block him, and you adjust and go block the next guy. Good idea of this. He becomes one, he blocks him, they adjust. We end up never getting to one, but we got 8 yards because they're in soft coverage. Also on this, we took the back, let the tackle release, took the back and blocked the defensive end, and then let the tackle run down and look stupid. Okay, again, different change formation. You can't allow people to line up like that. You can't allow them to line up that soft. You've got somebody out there that can get 5 yards. I mean, you run a sweep and you got to block everybody on the field. You line up like this and they line up 18 yards off, you got to stand up and throw the ball. You got to give the ball to one of these guys and let them get 5 or 6 yards, because if you do that, they're going to come down, they're going to get out of the way so that you can run the ball better. You now got a better chance to break a long run if that's what you're trying to do. Make them cover it. Let the quarterback have the freedom to come up and do it. Come up and block 1 and 2. He's got 1, he's got 2. It don't take much. Just get a hat on somebody and get us 5 or 6 yards. Catch it and release it. See how quick that is? Watch Couch on this. Catch, release. Don't worry about the seams. Just get the ball out.
If you have quarterback under center, just take one step back.
Yes. Get away as fast as possible. Get back off the line so they don't step on you and get rid of the ball. Okay, again here. Another formation, same play. Okay, this time we come up and go Z, Randy. We got Z out here, we got soft coverage. The guy's about 8 yards off of him. Y is going to go in block number 1. Okay, the back or the tackle, whichever one releases here, is going to try to get to number 2. In this case, it was the tackle. And actually the guy came off the edge. Watch here, really good job. Watch the tackle. He actually gets to hit somebody.
Check with me.
I don't remember if it was or not. I would say it probably was. With Couch, good thing about Couch was the play that you called made no difference, because he probably wasn't going to run. He was going to run which one he wanted to run, and he was always right. You'll see that here in a minute on a 4th down. Again, you can see a lot of times it's not clean hits, but you're making people adjust. All right, now, change up. Good little deal here. Okay, you got a little bit of a bubble. Even though they got basically 3 defenders here, watch what the fake does. If all the fake does, and this is all you're hoping with the fake, all it makes that linebacker do, he's sitting and watching, all it makes him do is stutter for a half of a second. If that's all it makes him do, it's worth the fake. You've held him, you've got him thinking a little bit now, you've slowed down his release as he's trying to get there. Watch the little fake, now we run a little arc. So now we go 35. Y, Randy toe swing. Make him swing. Fake holds that backward just for a second. Now we got a foot race with the inside guy. 6 or 7 yards. Watch this guy right here. He holds him just long enough to allow the lineman to get on him. You're helping him out. Watch it. Now the center's able to get on 3. Let's have some fun. Great idea, guys. Hire you a screen coach. You got a coach on your staff. How many guys are head coaches in here? You got a coach on your staff that's always bugging the crap out of you. You know that he knows he can call the offense better than you, right? You know that he knows that. Make him your screen coach. Tell him, here's your job. On Sunday of each week, you better have watched enough film that you have me 5 new screens every Sunday that we're going to put in on Monday for this week's game. By God, I'll tell you what he'll do. He will work his butt off to be the most creative screen guy in the world. You check him, you make sure it's got sense to it, you make sure that it's sound, and let him do it. I promise you, the guy will work his butt off to end up being the greatest screen. Then tell him every Tuesday, you're the greatest screen coach I've ever seen in the history of the world. Okay? Then he starts telling everybody, hell, if he just let me call the whole thing. You know, hell, I don't know about the rest of the offense. We got a lot of yards on screens. Motion out of the backfield. Same thing. 1, 2, give us 5 or 6 yards. Make them think. What are they going to do out of empty? Well, we're going to catch the ball and throw it to this guy and let him get 6 yards. Arc, bubble, look, he's uncovered. Bubble to it. See, the big tackle, he never blocks anybody, but he thinks he's going to. The back comes and blocks his guy. He says, well, I'm going to run down there.
The line or
That was a check. All right, man coverage. You ever play a team that on every single snap, you know what coverage they're going to be in? Yeah, we all do. In the SEC, we play teams that every single snap, they're going to play some certain coverage. Some of them play man every snap. We knew that Vanderbilt had done it the entire season. They played man every single snap play. They were pretty damn good most of the time. This year they weren't as good. In '98, the year before that, they whipped our butts. We ended up winning the game. They were better than us. Their defense shut us down. We had fun this next year. We screened some screens against man. Started the game off with, and we wanted them to be thinking the entire game, I wonder if they're going to crack when they go in motion. I wonder if they're going to crack when they go in motion. We actually put a guy in here who actually was halfway decent at cracking. He wasn't a killer, but he was better than the other one. And he goes in there and he nails that guy. And then we just change the blocking up a little bit. And we arc release, we bring Y around now to block 1. We crack down here. You know, that guy don't block nobody, but it looked good. That guy that got cracked the whole game, guess what he's thinking? I wonder if they go in motion, if they're going to crack me. Okay, again, new screen guy, you know, screen guy's thought of another one. Well, let's line up underneath the center in an offset eye, and let's motion this guy out here, and let's let him go block number 1, unless this guy becomes number 1. Uh-oh. Good adjustment. We don't get to number 1, but it doesn't matter because we threw it to a guy who was better than their number 1. And he made him miss. Great way to start a game off. Quarterback got a nice little play. It's about a 30-yard gain. Quarterback's feeling good. All right. Here's where you get to check your balls as a coach. You're going to do screens, you're getting good at screens, man, you're good at screens. You want to run the football, okay? That's what you want to do. I mean, we all want to run the ball because that's easy. Hand the ball off, block people, and we win, okay? That's fun. Believe it or not, we like to throw the ball so that we could run the ball, okay? There were times where we were good at running the football. But here's what you got to do. It's 4th and 2, okay? Key play of the game, tight game. Have they lined up right? Probably not. House didn't think they lined up right. So here it is, close game. We're actually, I think we were behind in this one. Behind 17 points, something like that. We just made a little bit of a comeback. 4th down. He thinks that he can get the ball to him fast enough that he's going to make that guy miss. So he tells him, Larry, tells him to shift. He shifts him, and now he's put the game in his hands. We trusted him. If it hadn't worked, you know what Coach would have said? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because that's the philosophy that you have to have if you're going to let the quarterback do this. Shifts him. Now you see there, 4th down. We don't actually block anybody, but, you know, it still works.
Coach, how do you come up with your toe call? Why is it ending tackle foot?
Well, usually what we did in the first couple of years that we did this is that if we made a toe call, we'd do it for 1 of 2 reasons. We'd either have a fake to where he had to stay and block the end, or for some reason we decided that week we wanted the back to be able to go and block either number 2 or number 3. Most of the time, the first couple of years, if we said toe, we had a fake involved in the deal, okay? And we would release the tackle. These last couple of years, tackles were worse than this one, trying to block. I mean, he ain't blocked nobody yet, as you've seen, but he looks good running. I mean, he was 6'7", 330 pounds. He scared the shit out of people, you know, when he ran. He just didn't ever hit them. Okay, let me get here to a couple of variation screens so you can see those. Okay, remember on these, we're trying to normally drive a defender off, as you see at the top of the screen here. We do drive the defender up the field 3 steps. We bring another blocker up and out, set up the guard block. It's just a different way of running the same stuff. Got a little bit of a fake now, not much. Okay, again, we drive a defender up, come back, set up, try to block 1 or 2 and pull the guard. See a couple of good shots here on the left here in just a second. Okay, again, drive them up, come back. Real good picture here. This is probably the best picture of what it could look like versus soft coverage. Drives him up 3 steps, comes up half the distance of the defender, sets up the guard by coming up half the distance and cracking out here. Even though the guard doesn't get a kick out, he does blur the vision. Set it up, he reads route, he comes to break it, he decides to go straight up the field, the guard ends up on the next defender. Allows the center to get up and make the block downfield here. Pretty good job, everybody getting down the field. Okay, again here, drives him up, half the distance, come and kick now, sets the guard block up, get a nice kick out there. We're on the way. Any questions, guys, on that? Let me show you, if I can, just one shot of the little screen that we put in this year. We'll get to draws. I believe that this is the running back deal out of the backfield, which was, again, a good little change-up for us this year. Okay. You see the tightness of the formation. We run to the short side, doesn't make any difference, but what we tried to do was line up with the appearance that we were going to run the mesh route. Line it up in a tight set. What we would like to try to do now is we would like, as you'll watch their angles, we're going to try to get to their outside pad. If we force going to the outside pad, the worst thing that will happen is that they'll widen, which again creates a bigger running line. All the back is going to do is free release, fast swing, as fast as he possibly can. And then we're going to pull one uncovered lineman up front. We changed the names on these to Rose and Liz, just telling the blocking angles are different. We're only going to pull one uncovered lineman on this. This really helped us this year. It was a good little change up for us. Watch him try to get to the outside pad. See the releases there? They try to get to the outside pad, and it widens the field by trying to get to the outside pad. He changes to go block him as 2, which is great. Great way to start a ball game off. quick little deal, see the quarterback, catch it, and get rid of the ball as fast as possible. Catch it, get rid of the ball. He's going on full speed. We're going to cut the outside guy, get rid of the ball, turn up the field. Great way to start a ball game off. Got your quarterback a good completion. Again here, watch what happens on this one. Again, see how tight we are? Watch if the back stays outside on this. Man, is that perfect? We got the outside hip, the outside shoulder pad block. Stay on the sideline and you probably score here. He cuts it back up, we get 6 yards. Receiver does a great job. Watch him pin him. See that? It's exactly the way he was taught. He had just trusted him just a little bit more. Just trust him. Man, you got the running lane, you got this guy down here. What a great deal that would have been. Same play, same way. Again, we tried to get to the outside hip. The guy wouldn't let us get to the outside hip, but we widened the field. See how tight we are? This guy comes sprinting out wide. Great little change up. Now we had a little play action fake on the deal. That's a great addition, guys, to throw in. Tighten everybody down. Get everybody down within 2 to 3 yards of the tackle. Line up really tight. Only thing you change is attacking the part of the body. Attack a different part of their body than what you've been attacking. Any questions?
On your variation screen, what do you teach if the meshes is there? DB depths and breaks don't go away. Stop.
Sorry.
On your variation screens, if the mesh isn't there as far as the DB comes up, really jump start, doesn't look like we're going to get it in there.
Just throw it out of bounds. Don't take a sack. Whenever one take a sack, same thing. Get rid of the ball, whatever, and get rid of it. Save this play. Okay, guys, the next thing is some of the draw looks that we have. Here's the best draw. Football. This wasn't a draw. We didn't call it a draw. It's a lead. But here's why it looks like a draw. Because we're in the shotgun. Because we allow the tackle to pass set if he wants to. If he's got a wide end, and we're in an up stance and we're in the gun, if he wants to open and pass set and shove by, we allow him to do that. Okay? Some of these cut-ups, I'll fast forward it through when we're up underneath the center because we got some leads up underneath the center too. But what you're going to see that happens when you run the lead or the lead draw out of the shotgun and you're a passing football team, that your running backs end up not having to be great blockers because most of the time that your running backs release, what are they doing? They're releasing to go on a route. So what backers tend to do in our offense when we're in the gun, 2 backs or 1, whatever it might be, the lead back who is going to lead on the backer gets a soft linebacker rather than a come attack linebacker. Because what he reads is shotgun snap, tackle pass set, guy releasing at me, he's going to run a route. So he'll sit and play him soft. When we get guys like 32 you'll see in this film, and sometimes 23 was 165 pounds, being good, effective lead blockers because that we're in the shotgun, because we're throwing the football so much. Basically, we're not trying to change our scheme any. We're going to bleed normally on our pass responsibility. So if it's a base 4-3, we're going to lead up on the wheel. If it's a nickel, any type of 4-2 nickel or 33 nickel, 6-man nickel type deal, again, what we tried to teach to make it simple was keep the blocking responsibilities the same as it would be in pass protection. Lead on your pass protection responsibility. So if we got a 4-2 nickel and we had a 3 technique, we would try to release inside the 3 technique to lead on the inside back. And it would look something similar to a draw play. If we were in 1 back, then the center has to become the lead blocker. If you're in 1 back, you've lost your lead blocker, so the the lead blocker, which means that we've got some type of six in the box look more than likely, okay? So now we're going to combo with the center and the guard, and one of them will slide off and become the lead blocker, which in this case will probably be the guard. You'll see some instances in here where the wheel may come back inside. He may try to do a twist or something outside. If that happens, the center may have to feel it, come back and pick it up. You'll actually see one instance to where the guard felt it, the center overextended, and the guard came all the way back and nips the guy just enough that we can get it out. And again, all we're doing with technique with the running back is that he's going to slide and try to keep his body square. Slide and keep my body square. Aiming point of wherever it may be. In most cases, our aiming point is cracking the tackle. Slide, body square, open, eyes on the butt of the tackle, but my eyes are scanning. The only thing that we wanted to do was have a point of attack of where we were trying to hit, and then let him be an athlete, let him be a player. We talked in our running back deal last night about don't overcoach running backs. Try to let them be natural, try to show them a lot of camera stuff in August, to let them see where things can happen. You'll see in our lead draw lead, you'll see the back slide, take the handoff, have the 5-hole, get to almost to the butt of the tackle, have vision here, and bring it all the way back to the 4-hole on the opposite side. The great thing about what we did on offense, is being in the shotgun, is that we tended to give pass rush defensive linemen who gave up run integrity, and we got lots of easy 5 and 6 and 7 yard plays on the lead or the lead draw. Okay? I'll show you some of those cut-ups. Yeah, you know, we used to do the shovel pass some, and as a matter of fact, Coach was pretty good at that back at, especially Iowa Wesleyan, and then we quit. There may be 1 or 2 shovel passes on here. We did the same concept, same blocking, nothing changes, and just shovel the ball. Oklahoma did a lot of that, I know. Right. Probably one shot there you might want to look at from underneath the center. Scripting it, this was actually, if I remember correctly, this was either a 3rd and short or a 4th and short. Another new way of doing it here, a little play action, quick screen deal. He'll just make a real quick fake here. We'll bring him out to block number 2. He's got number 1, gets us about a 3-yard play. Just a little bit of change-up variation on the deal. Again, let your screen coach create something new every week on that. Okay, if some of these are going to be underneath the center, I'm going to fast forward them, and then we'll come back to the stuff that looks more like the draw. Okay, real good deal here. Our base play on the goal line. Our base play on the goal line was mainly what we would call blue, which means 2 backs in the backfield. And then we would either go blue or blue open or blue wing check. That's why we put the game in the quarterback's hands. Tell the quarterback is either run or throw to grass. It's up to you. 3 seconds to go in the first half. In a real tight ball game. We got blue open check. Quarterback comes up, he sees what he feels like is enough grass for us to be able to run the lead draw into the end zone. So you watch this, and again, because we're in the gun, because we're in that situation, look how soft they are on the goal line. We actually don't block anybody really good, but we do get hats on hats and get a shot at getting in. Okay, great example here of vision. As he starts, we're leading the center. The center is going to become the lead blocker. 6 men in the box. The center and the guard are going to lead on the front side backer now. Shuffle and slide over. Keep great vision as you go. and then run to daylight. Try to give them the rule to make it to the heels of the lineman before they make a decision, but then don't get mad at them if they do something good like this. The key is, if you watch him here, the reason he's able to make a cutback on this is because he did a great job of doing what he was coached, and that was that he didn't open and run to the hole. When he opened, he slid with his body square, and he is able to scan his eyes now as he goes. He doesn't open and run. He scanned his body. Watch him stay square, even though the hole is here. 35, 5-hole draw. Stay square and slide. Now you can make adjustments. Now it's going to go block somebody. Okay, again, a little bit of a change up here in blocking. You end up slot guy coming on the backer. According to the depth, you can do that again. It's a good job keeping the body square. This time it actually ends up exactly in the 5-hole, but the body was square so he was able to see it. Okay, a little change up. You got deep linebackers. You can only do this. You can only do this on scouting. One back set. Take the center now and send him to the backside backer, get a hat on everybody. Yeah, linebackers play at depth. We played this game against South Carolina in 98, I believe it was, 98 at home. Their backers always stayed at 5 yards depth. Why, we don't know. But that's what they did. So now we've changed the blocking scheme, take the slot and crack on the backer. Watch what the backer starts to do here in this game. Open and turn his body and crack. Because in this game, 32 caught, about 10 balls for 130 or 40 yards, and he ran the ball 20 times for 130 or 40 yards. Crack, he turns and waits on him. We don't block the safety. We cracked and double cracked on the safety, let the corner alone.
Pound the knees. What do you got? Pound the knees.
A little change up in the blocking scheme. Run to daylight. Lead blocker now has got to become the center. Center becomes the lead blocker in one back scheme. You got a 3 technique. The center knows he's probably going to rub off, which he does. He rubs off, back makes a nice read, nice cut. 2-back lead out of the shotgun. Here's what I'm talking about this offense. 48 was an all-SEC linebacker, but 48 could not cover 32 to save his life. And in this game, for 2 years in a row, 32 made 48 look like a fool. So now, when 32 goes to lead block on him, 48's thinking one thing, option route. 32 liked to talk a lot of trash. He couldn't block anybody, but he talked really good. He'd come back from silent, he'd come back to game film on the next week and say, man, I'm killing him. I'm killing him, coach. This guy was back up, and then he'd trip and fall over somebody, and he'd run over him, then stand over him with his body all buffed out like he was a badass. He's in a 3. That means your angle now should be inside. You should come inside if he's in a 3. Say he has a kill shot. He just destroyed him. He loved that stuff. Okay, again, same deal here. As he's going to make the lead guy disappears, he ends up turning out. He don't block nobody, but he feels good about himself when the play's over with. Tells everybody he got a block. The other guy makes a big play. Questions on that, on the lead draw?
How was the blocking when you had the slot guy come in and crack down?
Now we could take the center and send the center backside. Take the center, we got a 4-2 nickel front, any type of 6-man in the box deal. Instead of the center having to be the lead back in a 1-man deal, the center now can go to the backside backer. We can go 3-on-3, guard on the 1 or 2, tackle lock on the backside end, center go to the backside backer, crack the front side backer, and now we got a hat on a hat. And then just leave the corner alone, not block the corner. End up cracking on the safety. Okay, one other way on running the draw, we got this year from a guy that used to coach at Texas Tech. Came up and spent some time with us. We put this in, helped us out a little bit, gave us a little change of pace on the draw. I really liked it. We didn't run it as much or as well as we should have. But I really like the way that we did it. Almost everything that we started flow in one direction. Normally we led or we ran the ball in that direction. We didn't have any type of counter stuff at all. That's why this was such a good deal for us. We ran it every time to the one technique side. You don't have to, and I've drawn it up to the 3 also to show you. But basically what we were doing is starting flow and then breaking back against the flow. Pass setting with the tackle. And now what we've been able to do is take the center and the guard and work a combination block up to the backer, just like we did on the lead. But here's the big key. Flow is starting this way. His hips slide this way. Right here. Makes it a really easy block for the center and guard to rub off and to have a nice angle on this block. Back, all he does, ball's inside here. All the back does is slide over, take the hand off, and now break it right to the guard's crack. Normally the hose will be right outside the guard. Just a nice little change up. All it is just a little bit change up in the flow of the backfield, which gives us, a team that doesn't run a lot of different stuff in the run game, what it gave us was a little bit of a misdirection play. Just a very slight little bit. Again, we weren't great at it. We didn't do it as much as we should, and we didn't do it as good as we possibly should have. Everybody got that that needs it? All right, if we ran it to the 3 technique, run it to the 3 technique side now, the guard just spans 3. Okay, the center now has still got to bump the 1. He's got to get a bump on the 1, and then he still goes play side. Okay, still goes play side. Tackle, backside guard are going to work on these 2. The tackle's going to end up trying to get a piece of him here. He's got a chance of getting his body on him to cause the flow. Again, back slides, handoff, breaks it back so we get counter flow action. Okay? Tight end is going to the play side safe. Back, he's remaining back, is going to come and block the outside rush. I've got a couple of cut-ups on this. They're not great, but at least you can get the idea of it. Everybody got that needs it? Let's see just a couple of these anyway. See it better from the angle back here. You get a little bit of a twist. This is kind of a good idea. You know, the thing that happens with us, this offense, you get so many line twists up front that the blocking schemes of the run game don't tend to be perfect. You know, it's hard to block the twist of it. The thing that happens too is that defensive linemen lose the integrity of the run angles. So it ends up sometimes they screw up and it still works. In this case is what happens. Good thing you can see here is the flow of the backer because the flow of the back. What happens to the back? He slides with him, moves with him, allows this guy to get his hat on him. Same thing here, counter move, you get a hat on a hat. Holds that backer a little bit. Damn, we're bad. No wonder we got fired. Okay? Anybody have any questions on that? One last thing here on draws. If you get, what we did in this offense is that we tried to use formations as much as possible in order to try to gain advantages. The quarterback we had this year was 6'4", about 307. No, that don't sound right. Listed him at 275. NC 275 about a year before that. He was about 6'4", about 307. And he actually could run about a 5 flat, 4'9", good athlete. One thing that he could do is he had a big body. He was tough to bring down in open space. I mean, unless you just absolutely hit him at the knee. So we went empty. What we were telling him to look at when we went empty, if we got any type of 5 in the box, anything at all, that we knew that we could get a hat on a hat and let your big body lean on somebody, we gave him the freedom to check the quarterback draw. Okay? That's all we were looking for, was a hat on a hat in some form or fashion. We could get a hat on a hat and we let him check to it. We just had a number that he would make a call, and then we were going to run quarterback draw. And it wasn't ever going to be for a huge play. Now, we did against Georgia. The opening drive, I think the first play we went 89 yards, got down to the 7-yard line. A little play action, we were coming off. The tight end goes 89 yards. On the second play, 7-yard line, we go empty.
Might have been one back.
He's either got 5 or 6. We got a hat on a hat everywhere in there. He runs the deal, gets hit about 6 times. But, you know, he's, like I said, 307 pounds. They didn't hit him low enough. He made a couple of big plays on it. Just another way to run a draw. I did this a lot as a high school coach because I had a quarterback once that was pretty dang good at it. What he also did is that this was early on in the season when he felt uncomfortable and just wanted to call it, just to get out of something, that we'd let him do that too. In this case here, they actually outnumber us and they blitz. But he saw what he thought was grass here. He checks to it himself. Got an edge blitz coming. Just flashes the ball up, shows the ball, takes off. Again, all you see him do there is just take the ball, show the ball, flash the ball up in the air, get a hat on a hat. Get that momentum headed downfield. Now here, amazingly in this, we're playing Wolf. 31-31, I think. 15 seconds to go in the game. We know we're fixing to go to overtime. Their quarterback drops the ball. Our guy picks it up, runs it down to the 3-yard line. There's like 12 seconds to go in the game, something like that. We were going to run the ball, quarterback draw, get the ball in the middle of the field, kick the field goal, and win the game. Not take any chances, that was it. If we do it, we end up, they block the field goal and beat our ass in overtime. Shows you how smart we are. Smart football stuff. But again, here, all we're trying to do on this, just take a 300-pound body, run straight up the field, try to get something out of it. Again, here you can see we got 5 in the box, we got 5 bodies, we got people spread out all over the field. Let him check to it himself. 5 bodies versus 5 bodies. Flash the ball up in the air, get a hat on a hat. He drags them all in the end zone, fumbles, and gives them the ball. Looked good, though, for a while, didn't it? Got a hat on a hat almost. Big old body. Boom, 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 boom. Just another way to run the draw, guys. Anybody got any questions? I got 10 more minutes, but I'm more out. See y'all later.